it's Lisa here on the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel today. I thought I would do this video a little bit differently for you today. I'm going to do the first part of it kind of live, real-time talking, because I wanted to make a couple of cards today and I'm going to talk about how I selected my colour. But for the cards, I'll just run through the products I'm going to use. This is the Butterfly Garden Stencil, really pretty. I actually haven't used that yet, which is why I got it out today. I'm going to use the Timeless Frames Mini Slimline Paradise. So I'm going to create two mini slimline cards, and I'm going to use some sentiments from Paper Hugs, which is one of my favourite sets. I really like the sentiments. I mean, I love the image too, but I quite often go to these sentiments when I'm looking for things for a project. So my sentiments will come from that set. So what I wanted to talk about today, and I thought it would be easier to do it live, is just to talk about selecting colour. And I've zoomed in a little bit here now, and I've got this colour wheel in front of me. I bought this off of Amazon. It's only about £2 or £3, I think. It's a really useful tool to have in your craft room if you don't already own one. There's lots of detail on this colour wheel, so I'm not going to go into all of that. And there are two sides to it. So this is a really helpful way of kind of jump starting your creativity if you're unsure about what colours to put together or maybe which colours to blend together. And I thought today I would use Analogous colours. Now that's its official term. Basically all that means is that I'm going to use colours that sit together side by side on the colour wheel. So I was flipping the top of the colour wheel round and thinking, well, I'm going to do butterflies, so I want to have some really nice, pretty, summery colours. And my eyes went to the red, orange, orange and yellow orange. So I wanted three colours to blend on each of the cards, and I thought that I would use those three. And for my second card, I thought I would go with some cool tones. So I went round the wheel again, just kind of flipping that around just to see what caught my eye. And I really like this kind of blue-green shade here. That would mean that I could use Peacock feathers. I'm going to use Distress Inks on both cards today. So the blue-green, the blue and the blue-violet I thought would work really well for some cool tones on my second panel. I also thought they'd still look really pretty as well for butterflies. So that's how I selected my colours today. You've got all the information about analogous colours, complementary colours, primary colours, tertiary colours. There's a lot of information on this wheel, but you can use it in a really simple way just by selecting colours that are together that you know are going to end up looking really nice on your card. So what I'm going to show you now is the swatch folder and how I picked my colours. So just zooming out a little bit here, I have this kind of ring binder that I've got all my swatches in from all of my different inks, and at the front are my Distress Inks followed by my oxides. I will use Distress Inks today because I really want that vibrancy for the butterflies. So going back to the colour wheel and my choice of red, orange, orange and yellow orange, I basically just took the colour wheel and I just matched it up against colours in my swatch book. So for my red orange, I'm going to use Crackling Campfire. For my orange, I'm going to use Carved Pumpkin, and for my yellow orange, I'm going to use Wild Honey. So that's the first card. For the cooler tones, I'm just going to go forward a little bit here, going back to my blue-green here. Sorry if I was off camera there. I'm not used to doing this live. So my blue-green, of course, is going to be Peacock Feathers, an absolutely lovely colour, one of my favourites of the Distress Inks. For my blue, I flipped the page over and I decided I would go with Blueprint Sketch. I thought that was quite a good match. It is a little bit purpley, but I thought that that would mix in well with the blue violet colour, and for that I decided to go with Villainous Potion. So I hope that the light's okay. I'm not sure how good it is today. It looks fine on my phone, but I hope it's good enough for you to see those colours and see how I went about choosing them. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make the two cards now, and I've switched to voiceover now as that's easier for this part of the video. I've cut two panels of 6 1/4 by 3.5 inches, and I'm now going to take the butterfly stencil and just adhere my cardstock onto that, just using some low tack tape. So I've put some masking tape down at the top and the bottom of the stencil just to make sure I don't get any ink onto those areas of the cardstock, and I do actually end up trimming this down, but I wanted to protect those two areas whilst I was doing the blending. So as you'll remember from the colour wheel exercise, I'm going with oranges and orangey red for my first panel, and I'm using a mini ink blending tool today. I normally use blending brushes, and I wish I had. I don't think my stenciling was quite as sharp as it normally is, and I think it's just because I'm not used to using that foam applicator anymore. But I'm starting off with Crackling Campfire, and I go over that a number of times just to make sure it's a really deep saturation and more red than orange before I go ahead and add the second colour, which is Carved Pumpkin. So I make sure to kind of blend the two as I go, and I'm working from top left down and bottom right up. And so for my final colour in the middle, I'm using Wild Honey. So just going to add that in to sort of join the other two areas together. And I blend that out with the Carved Pumpkin on either side. And now for the magic, we can remove all of that masking paper and the stencil and see the beautiful design revealed on that panel. So going to move on now to the second panel, and as you'll remember, we're going to use some cooler blues and purples for the second card. For this card, I thought I would do the blending a little bit differently. I'm just going to go from top left to bottom right. So you'll see bigger kind of blocks of shading with each of the three colours. Starting with Peacock Feathers in the top left-hand corner. I'm now going to blend that out with Blueprint Sketch, which is such a pretty colour, and actually these go really nicely together. Just make sure that you do blend out in between each colour as you add the kind of second colour, just to make sure you get a smooth transition. And then we're going to finish off with Villainous Potion, which is a beautiful deep purple, and again goes really well with the Blueprint Sketch. So going over those two colours where they join, just to make sure it blends properly. And that's a look at the two panels. So I've trimmed both of these down, and I'm now going to adhere them behind one of the scalloped frames from the Timeless Frames Mini Slimline Paradise set. So I've trimmed these two panels down so that they just sit within that frame, but you don't see any of the blended panel outside of the scallop, and it was actually easier to add the glue to the frame itself rather than the panel, so I did that for the second card. But these come together really quickly once you've done all your blending. And just pressing that down to make sure it's really stuck down firmly before I go ahead and add some more adhesive onto the back. And I'm going to place this down onto a base card. And I do the same for the other panel as well. So I've heat embossed some sentiments off camera and added some foam tape onto the back. So both sentiments are from Paper Hugs, as I showed you earlier. And I'm going to finish both of them off with some beautiful sparkly gems. On one card I use the Fairy Garden gems, and on the other I use the Sunny Sparkle Illusion. So here is the two finished cards. I think they're really pretty with the two different colourways. I hope that you like them too. I will be back with another card for you soon. In the meantime, I hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye for now.